Good morning, boys and girls. Today is Wednesday, April 29th, 2020. Mrs. Brigatti is here to teach you Lesson 5, Exit Ticket. It looks like this. Okay, so let's go over our goal over here. If you can see this poster, it says that we can partition a whole into equal parts and identify the unit form and the numeric form. Whoa, those are some big words. So let's talk about partition. Partition just means to break apart or cut, kind of like when we do the distributive property. So that should hopefully be a little familiar to you. So we're gonna break apart or cut a whole thing. So we're gonna see a whole candy bar, a whole circle, and we're gonna break it apart or partition it. Then after we do that, we have to identify or tell the unit form. So unit form means the number and the word. So we know unit fractions have a numerator of 1, but it's going to look like this with the number 1 and the word like fourth, for example. The number 3 and the word sixths, or the number 4 and the word 8. So these are examples of unit form. And then we also have to identify or tell the numeric form, which just means just numbers. So they would look something like this. Example, like the numerator is 2, the denominator is 6. We have 2 out of 6. So you see here, there's just numbers, no words. All right, so let's get started. I'm going to actually move this over to this board here because I think it'll be better for you guys to see. Put my paper down. All right, let's look at number 1. I'm going to actually move this up a little bit higher. Hopefully that'll work. All right, so on our exit ticket, number 1 is going to be right here. We're going to look at A here, and we have a rectangle. And I see we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 total equal parts, and 1 is shaded in. So right here in the box, it says the total number of equal parts. So we're just going to go ahead and write the number 6. There are 6 equal parts. Total number of equal parts shaded. So we look over here, we see we have 1 shaded. All right, now here it is. It's asking us for the unit form. We just went over that. Like, what's the unit form again? So remember the unit form, they're looking for a number and then a word. So I know that there is 1 shaded part. So that's going to be my numerator. So I'm going to write number 1 because the numerator would be 1. And then there are 6 equal parts. So I would write the word 6 here. Or 6th, excuse me, 1/6. So the way to write unit form is 1/6. Then over here, they want us to just write the fraction, which is the numeric form, which was in our goal. And remember, the numeric form, it's right here, is just numbers. So we're going to take the number of parts shaded, which is our numerator, fraction bar, and then the total number of equal parts, which is 6. All right. So we have total number of equal parts is 6. Number of equal parts shaded is 1. Unit form, we write it with a number 1 and the word 6. And then the fraction is 1/6, or the numeric form. All right, let's go on to number 2. Each image below is 1 whole. So 1 whole candy bar, 1 whole brownie, 1 whole Twizzler. We're going to write the fraction that is shaded. That is shaded. So our job on these lines here on your exit ticket is to write the fraction that is shaded. And we can just do that right here in numeric form just with numbers. So the first thing I need to do is find out how many equal parts are in the whole. So we're going to count 6, 7. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep, so I have 7 total equal parts. So I'm going to use the denominator 7 because I know that goes on the bottom. Do my fraction bar. And then the number of shaded parts is just 1, and that's my numerator. So I write 1/7, which actually happens to be a unit fraction because the numerator is 1. All right, let's look at this shape. We have how many equal parts? 2, and then the fraction bar, and how many are shaded? 1. Okay, so we can say 1/2 of these of this shape is shaded, or say that was a brownie and you were sharing it, right? And you got this piece and your brother or sister got that piece. We have 1/2, 1 out of 2. And the last one, this kind of looks like I said a Twizzler, like a piece of licorice, right? Like a skinny, long piece of candy. Let's count our total number of equal pieces so we can figure out our denominator. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 equal pieces, so that's our denominator, fraction bar. And how many are shaded? 1. So these are all unit fractions because they all have a numerator of 1. All right, now this last one, I ran out of room on my paper. I'm going to lift this up a little bit, but I'm going to actually work this problem out on the dry erase board. So give me just a second to lift that up. All right. Number 3 says, draw 2 rectangles. Okay, so that's direction 1. Partition, there's that word again. Partition means to break apart or cut these rectangles, and I'm going to do one of them into 5 equal parts. Then there's partition again, break apart or cut the other into 8 equal parts. So I'm going to draw 2 rectangles and break them into equal parts. So that was step 1. Draw 2 rectangles. Step 2 is to partition one of them into 5 equal parts. Step 3 is to partition them into 8 equal parts. Wow, that's really 3 steps. Next, our job is to label now. We're going to label. So that's step 4. We're going to label the unit fractions. Okay, so we know that when we label, if it's a unit fraction, we're going to have a numerator of 1. And we got to shade. Whoa, we got a lot to do here. And shade 1 equal part in each rectangle. Wow. So we're going to label and shade. So I think I'm going to call this direction 5. That's a lot. And then we're going to use our drawing to explain why 1/5 is larger than 1/8. So wow. Explain, there's our verb. We got to do something to explain. So we have 6 things we need to do in this problem here. 6 things. All right. Let's start with direction 1. Draw 2 rectangles. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm actually going to draw 2 rectangles that kind of look like tape diagrams. And notice when I draw them, I kind of line them up because I want to compare them, because they're asking us to explain why one of these unit fractions is bigger or smaller than the other one. So I want to make sure when I'm doing this, I'm lining them up. All right, so I'm going to put a check mark there. We drew 2 rectangles. Now we're going to partition one of them into 5 equal parts. So let's take this one right here at the top. If I want to cut this or partition or break it apart into 5 equal parts, we need to draw 4 lines. So I'm going to go ahead and go just like our tape diagrams. 2, 3, 4. Okay, do they look pretty equal? Yeah, they're pretty close. Okay. All right. Then step 3, let's put a check mark here. We did that. Step 3 says partition the other into 8 equal parts. 8 equal parts. So how many lines do we need for that? Sorry, my dog is barking. Mia, shh. Good girl. Okay. So where are we? We're on number 3. Partition the other into 8 equal parts. So how many lines are we going to draw for this one? It would be 7, right? 1 less line. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Those are pretty equal. Mia. Okay, puppy, go lay down. She's just trying to protect us. Sorry about that. Okay. So see, I'm losing my train of thought. Okay, so we just partitioned or cut apart the other rectangle into 8 equal parts. So we've done direction 1, 2, and 3. So now we're on 4. It says label the unit fractions. Label them. So if they're unit fractions, they have a numerator of 1. So I know that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 equal parts. So this part would be 1/5. This equal piece would be 1/5, 1/5, 1/5, 1/5. Okay, and now we have to do the same thing for down here. So remember we broke this rectangle into 8 equal parts. Let me just double check and make sure. I like to check my work. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So this piece would be 1/8 of the whole thing. I'm going to go ahead and label these because the directions tell me to label them. And I want to read the directions and follow the directions. Okay. So let me go back up here where I labeled the unit fractions. We did that, so I'm going to put a check there. But now they want us to shade 1 equal part in each rectangle. So I'm actually going to take my red marker and I'm going to go ahead and kind of just shade this piece. And I'm also going to shade this piece right underneath it. And this is important because when we're comparing fractions using the model like a picture, because you guys know I like to draw pictures to help us understand, I can really use these 2 rectangles and these 2 shaded pieces to help me understand what I'm about to have to explain here. All right, so let's check. I'm going back to my directions because there's a lot to do. Label the unit fractions and shade 1 equal part in each rectangle. So I'm going to put a check mark there. Oh, that was fast. We already got 5 directions done. All right, now we're on the last thing. Use your drawing to explain why 1/5 is larger than 1/8. Okay, so I have to explain why this piece, 1/5, is larger than 1/8. Does it look larger? Yeah, it does. But it's tricky, right? Because a lot of kids say, oh, Mrs. Bergotti, look, I know that 8 is bigger than 5, so 1/8 must be bigger than 1/5. But we know in fractions, when the denominator is bigger, the piece is smaller. Okay, that piece is smaller. And we can see that in our picture, right? Look at that. Boy, if this was a candy bar, would you want 1/5 or would you want 1/8 of the candy bar? Yeah, I'd want 1/5 too. Look at how much bigger that piece is, right? So we have to explain why this is larger. So we're gonna say 1/5, and I could even do is greater than, right? We had the alligator eat the bigger fraction, is bigger than 1/8 or greater than. And why is that? Because when the denominator is smaller, the piece of the whole thing is bigger. Okay, so I'm a good math student, so I'm going to reread what I wrote and make sure I did everything I needed to do. So I have 1/5 is bigger or greater, and I did say that, larger than 1/8, because when the denominator is smaller, right, 5 is smaller than 8, that piece is bigger. Look at, and you did a great job showing or proving that 1/5 is larger than 1/8 with our picture. All right, let me check my work. Did I draw 2 rectangles? Yep. Did I partition one into 5 equal parts? Yep. Did I partition the other into 8 equal parts? Yep. Did I label the unit fractions? Yep, because they all have numerators of 1. Did I shade 1 equal part in each rectangle? Yeah, I used my red. And then did I use my drawing to explain why 1/5 is larger than 1/8? Yeah, I probably didn't even have to write this, but we know that we're good math students and it's okay to take a couple seconds, right, and write this, right? It really explains it. Okay, that's it. So what you're gonna do is, this is gonna be posted on Dojo and on Seesaw. You're gonna look for this exit ticket connected to Seesaw and to this video, and you're gonna go ahead and do this, and you can add it to a Seesaw activity and send it back to Mrs. Brigatti and Mrs. Calabufo, and we'll look at it. And then this is just a reminder, this is the menu that went home this week. Tomorrow, on Thursday, oh, that's not the right date. It'd be April 30th. But it's going to be lesson 5 next week. I must have the wrong one. Lesson 5 on Thursday. Okay, so make sure you watch that, which goes with this exit ticket. And there's our schedule again. I think you guys can see that. Right, so we saw Monday, Miss Yeager had a video. Tuesday was a review day from last week for lesson 4. Today is Mrs. Brigatti. Tomorrow's that new lesson, which is lesson 5 on WCNY. And if you don't see it, it will be posted on Seesaw. So if you miss it at 8:30 tomorrow morning, you can see it on Seesaw. And then Friday, Mrs. Calabufo will do a video. All right, remember to keep doing Dreambox and Seesaw activities, guys. All right, see you next Wednesday. Bye.